Hi, this is episode 14 of Rory's Table Tennis Topics. It's been a few weeks since my last show. It's been a bit busy with people back to work and back to doing their normal activities. So we'll probably be doing them only once a month from now on. So I've got two new guests and I've got my co-host, Brett Holt. So the two new guests are Joanne Hanson and Dave Steel. So what we'll do quickly is we'll get them to just give themselves a bit of an introduction, Joanne and Dave. So like how you got into table tennis and what you do within table tennis now. Joanne, do you want to go first?
Okay. Well, I used to play as a kid on the dining room table, and then I played for a youth club league and university league in kind of university championships and stuff. But then I stopped playing for a few decades as kind of a job took over, and then I started playing again January 2013. It was a bit of a sort of New Year's resolution, really. There was a local table tennis club in my village, and I thought, well, I'll go along, and if I don't like it, I can just come home again.
So what
But I
was
really
the
liked
spur?
it.
What was the spur to get you to actually go from not playing for some number of years and then to suddenly start playing again? That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I just saw in like the village magazine that there was a table tennis on a Tuesday night. It was a table tennis club on a Tuesday night. And
This is
because I'd
Woodland.
used to play, yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
Woodlands. And because I used to play when I was in my 20s, I thought, oh, I could give that a go. And it was, I don't know what it was. It was just seeing it in print and thinking, oh, I'd like to do that again. Because when I was a kid, you just had to show me a table tennis table, and I can't go, oh, can I play table tennis now? Because I always wanted to do it. And then I started in the January, and then a few months in, somebody said to me, oh, do you want to play league in September? So I said, yeah, okay then. And they were looking at me as if to say, are you sure? Because they didn't do competitions or anything there. Well, they did, but not at that point. And then I said, yeah, I'll have a go at league, because I'd played like at university championships that were quite big. Although, we never got anywhere. It was like people from Loughborough and stuff that you could see the really good players. But so I'd had some kind of competitive experience. And then so I played in the league. It was a Worthing league and nice and friendly and stuff. And I started off in Div 4, and then just kind of worked my way up.
Just goes
Um,
to show you that it's worth clubs advertising because you're going to pick up people who hadn't played for a while, and people might get back into it. So yeah, it's good.
yeah, it was just like the local village, all about Rustington or something, and all the activities were in there, like Scrabble club and short map bowls and
And
all
have
the
you
rest
moved
of
up
it.
a division since you started, or how have you done? Or
Yeah, I started in Div 4, and and then I went up to Div 3 and 2. I had one season in Div 1 and then came back down like a scalded cat to Div 2, where I'm quite happy in Div 2.
and I think
Yeah.
you're doing a bit of organising with the club as well. Am I right?
No, I've left that club now because I was also playing in Brighton League for
Okay.
Lancing. So it was going to be much easier for me to play in Worthing League and Brighton League, playing for the same club. Much
Right.
easier for the captain to kind of
Which club is that?
organise.
Which club
Lancing.
is Dancing? Yeah. And so are you
Yeah.
involved in
So
that club? I see you're on on the county meeting. Was that, or were you were just going as a personal person?
yeah, in the county meeting, what it was the Brighton League didn't have many people helping in the kind of management side of the league.
Yeah.
And so because they knew I'd been on the Worthing League committee
Oh,
and
there we go.
also been secretary of Woodlands for 5 years, they
Okay, so
said, would I help out with the league? And I said, yeah, I'll do anything apart from treasurer because I can't count.
yeah.
And I didn't want to do any minute taking because I'd done that for 5 years.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do something different. And Jim Skinner said, well, be county rep. So for Brighton League, so I'm on the county committee, being the Brighton rep, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Okay, so we move on to Dave. Give us a bit of an introduction to yourself and your table tennis kind of experience.
Well, obviously, I started playing as a kid because my parents played. And years ago, people played ping pong. That's what they done in youth clubs, etc., like that. Companies and all them sort of places, everybody played a bit of ping pong, which has gradually died out with all the companies being security guarded, etc. You can't just go to companies and play anymore. I carried on playing till I was probably about 21, and then I think I stopped playing for about 8 years. Then I gradually got back into it and started playing, as well as
back into it. What made you get back into it again?
Just somebody asked me to play. At the club that I'd always been at, to be honest. It was it was Goring Table Tennis Club at the time.
Oh, I remember.
And they'd been running for a lot of years, and my parents and my brother was both playing there, and they said, just have a few games.
I know your mum plays, but I didn't know your dad played.
Yeah, he played as well. He played in the Eastbourne League.
Okay.
So they both played.
Two brothers who played, and a nephew.
Two brothers, and both my parents played. Yes.
Yeah, and your nephew.
Tony plays. I mean, all my nephews have played. I mean, it's something it's in the family, and everybody has a little bash at it. Apart from my kids, who've never shown any real interest.
Well, Josh played a bit, didn't he?
No, Josh played. So did Rob and Gary. Played in the South West Sussex League. We played we played in the bottom division and finished bottom. And I don't think they won any games at all. But we play for a very different reason to a lot of other people playing. And as you know, I played to have a beer after my matches.
Yeah.
You know, and when I played with my sons, the nice thing about, we had a great time. We lost every single match over, and that was with me playing in the bottom division. We still finished bottom of the bottom.
You won your matches, but they lost theirs.
I won mine, but they never. I don't think Gary won a single match. My mate Carl, who played, might have won one, and Josh won about 2 or 3. So we finished bottom of the bottom division in probably the weakest league in the country. But what we did do is we was always finished by 9:30 and went straight down the pub.
Nice.
Sounds good to me.
Okay,
but so I started playing again, and to be fair, I just played. I didn't get too involved because I was running a lot of football teams and things like that with my boys, being at that age where they would have, football commitments. And then when I knocked that on the head, because they reached a certain age, I got more involved in running, or got more involved in doing table tennis stuff. And we seem to have gone from strength to strength as a club. But that's because I'm a good people person.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And
that's it. That's my strength, is I'm a good people person.
Yeah. Cool.
Or a drunk. Depends on how you want to look at it.
So we've got a few questions. The first one is the impact that COVID is having on table tennis, on maybe on an ongoing basis. Obviously, we know it's stopped for 4 or 5 months, but not stating the obvious, but what impact it's having now, and maybe what impact it's had on people stopping playing or starting playing. So it doesn't have to be all negative. It can be positive. So I'll actually start on this one. So in my club, so I had a TT Kids session. It's like a government initiative run by Table Tennis England governing body initiative. Where it's mainly it's under 11s, and it's like 8 weeks. I had 7 kids signed up for it, and obviously it stopped. We did 2 sessions and then it stopped. I restarted it again. We had our 4th session today. So 3 weeks ago, we started it again. Of the original 7, 4 of them didn't continue, and they may or may not play table tennis again. So we may have lost those 4 to table tennis, but that remains to be seen. But on the positive side, I did manage to get 5 new players, which actually means I've got one extra person than I had originally. And before that session, I have another under 12 session, which is actually a free one, which the Table Tennis England is paying for as a grant I got for that. And I had smallish numbers for that before, even though it was free. I only had 5, 6 players, 7 sometimes. That's actually gone up to 11 players after the COVID lockdown situation. So that's actually improved. Sometimes these things take a bit of time to get hold, and I suppose people hadn't played for a while. And one of the positives that would have come out of this COVID thing is a lot of people bought table tennis tables for their house because there was little else to do. You weren't allowed out of the house for a long period, and then anyway, a lot of people you couldn't get table tennis tables; they were all sold out. So everybody was buying table tennis tables, and hopefully more people were playing, and some new people will hopefully come into the sport. Obviously, on the other side, there's people that have stopped playing because of a long break, or people who are intending to come back but aren't ready because of maybe being vulnerable or whatever. And in terms of league play, none of the leagues have started yet. Hayward's Heath starts tomorrow, which is good. Not many other leagues are starting. There's a couple that might be starting in November. Red Hill Reigate League. I think East Grinstead is starting sometime soon as well. But no sign of our main local league starting, Crawley and Horsham, which is one of the best leagues in the area.
Yeah, in the south, yeah.
But yeah, and British League and national tournaments, obviously, they're not happening. National Cadet League, National Junior League, not happening. All we're able to do at the moment is I've been doing these little round robin tournaments of 6 players. You can have bands of 6 players. So we've got 2 tables. So we have 6 on one table playing each other and 6 on another table playing each other. So I've done 2 senior events. The first only had 6 people. The second one had 12. So we had 2 tables. And then I did one cadet event, cadet junior event. And that had 12 people in it as well. So yeah, and practice sessions. I'm running practice sessions as well, which I didn't actually run before COVID. So that's a new. Well, I had run them like a year ago, but not for a while. So that's actually a new addition. 1-to-1 sessions are going. The regular club coaching sessions are going Mondays and Fridays. There's a few less probably doing that because of COVID that had done it before. There's a few people that aren't coming back to play yet because of the situation. Lost about 3 or 4 players that way. And then what was I going to say? So I'm doing I'm probably doing less 1-to-1 as well, doing less 1-to-1 than I was doing before. And the main thing is the coaching in the school. So the biggest part of my job is going into schools, coaching after school 5 times a week, 3 times a week before school, a couple of lunchtime sessions. That's the majority of my work. So none of that's happening whatsoever. There's no school table tennis whatsoever. So, I mean, I had the government funding for 6 months, but that's now stopping. So I'm going to have to, I'm looking at doing other jobs temporarily, like a teaching assistant job or something just in the meantime. So yeah, that would be from my side of things, the impact of COVID at the moment. So I'll pass that question on to Joanne. How has it affected you and your kind of club and stuff?
Well, we've lost our venue in Lancing at the moment, hopefully temporarily, because it's North Lancing Primary School. So they're using the hall to, what I understand, I think they're feeding the kids in the hall, and they've set out an individual chair for each child with their name on it, and nobody can touch the chair. So they've all got their own little space for lunchtime. No school wants outsiders coming in.
Which is why I'm not allowed to do any coaching in schools. And actually, just to quickly say as well, we haven't got our normal venues either. So we normally operate out of Slinfold Primary School, which is again not accepting bookings. And then we run tournaments and league matches out of Farrington School. They're not accepting bookings. So we've actually had to go to the village hall. And although they do have a number of existing bookings, we've managed to fit sessions in around them, and it's actually worked out quite well.
And your local ping parlour as well.
Oh yes, and I've done some 1-to-1 with the local ping pong parlour, which is good because in previous shows people have talked about, you know, a lot of money going into these initiatives and what we're seeing at. But actually, if you get in touch with your local ping pong parlor, you can actually use it for club activities, and this should be, you know, you can get people coming back and forwards from your club to the ping pong parlor and so on. Anyway, Joanne, sorry, carry on if you had more to say.
Yeah, so we've lost the venue, but what we've done is set up a couple of WhatsApp groups so that people who are members of Durrington Sports Centre, and they can book a table tennis table as part of their membership, which won't cost them anything. So they'll book a table for an hour or two, and then they'll send out some messages saying, I've booked a table, who wants to come and play? And you can have 3 people on a table, 1 table, 3 people. So if you book 2 tables, you can get up to 6 people coming. And so we kind of control that via a WhatsApp group.
Oh,
and what that's done, and what that's done really is that although we haven't got the venue whereby we'd know, like say there was practice on a Wednesday night or on a Sunday morning, and if you felt like going, you'd go, but if you didn't feel like going, you wouldn't go. But this is more of a commitment, and it's more like we're pulling together really, you know, to try and provide something. People are really doing their best to try and keep the club together and pull together, and it's like a really good spirit about it. I really like it.
Yeah, because you need a certain amount of people to make it financially viable, presumably, as well.
Yeah, well, people are already members of the sports centre. So the people who have this sports membership, you know, and it's quite expensive, a sports membership like that. They've said, they pay a few hundred a year, but then they play. One person plays badminton and they go swimming twice a week, and so they get all that in their membership. So it doesn't cost them anything then to book a table every week, like on a Friday afternoon or something, or a Sunday afternoon, which is when I've gone. And then they advertise it via the WhatsApp thing, and then we have a bit of banter on there as well in the WhatsApp. So it's like a nice little community that's kind of come out of it.
All clubs have to abide by these Table Tennis England guidelines to do with COVID, like wiping the tables down before and after, and hand sanitizing, and keeping 2 meters apart, and all the other.
Well, it's in a sports centre, so the sports centre know all about the COVID restrictions, and all the hand sanitizer and the towels are all there, ready for us to use. So it's okay. And you know, I think there are 6 clubs in the Worthing League, and only 2 of them have access to their venue. So there's not going to be a league this year.
Isn't there at all? No league at all?
And no, I can't see it happening this year at all, because there's, as I say, there's 6 clubs, and only 2 of those clubs have got access to their venues.
What about Brighton League?
Brighton League are hoping to start something, because again, Lancing's in the Brighton League, but we haven't got a venue. We were hoping to sort of share with Hollingbury, but they can't get. What was the Bevendine Primary School, isn't it? They can't get into that, so they've got Railways Social Club have got somewhere in Exeter Street. They've got some tables there. And I think Hollingbury have got something there in Exeter Street as well. So you know, from our point of view, we'll just keep practicing. I don't think Worthing will have a league this year. Who knows? By the end, we've still got one of our tournaments from last year to finish off, the handicap tournament. That went as far, they finished the semi-finals. So, you know, if at some point towards the end of the season, they might try and stage the final of the handicap tournament as a kind of something or other, or have some kind of little maybe summer league. Who knows what might be, you know, you might get something going. But Brighton League, I think Jim Skinner's hoping to get something started there, although I can't see Lancing, my club Lancing, being part of it, because we just haven't got a venue. And, you know, so I don't think I'll be playing league this season, but I'm keeping practicing, and I'm going up to this fantastic place in Haywards Heath soon.
The league starts tomorrow. So Dave, would you like to tell us how you think COVID's affected you and your club and so on?
As a club, it's very, very difficult to operate because obviously we have a lot of people from up and down the country that play for us. And a lot of that is based on the Senior British League, the Vets British League. So obviously none of us can actually get together and enjoy our own company and play for the club.
No, but you have got your own little internal league, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, we've been trying to get people to play. I do believe that we should be playing. I don't believe that we shouldn't play because I think that there are, availability for people to play.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure that lots of people in a hall separated by a 1 foot barrier is COVID friendly. And I don't necessarily agree with that because I think that's bad.
So you think
I think that's abusing. I think that that's abusing the rules.
Right. So you're saying you don't think that K2 should happen with the tables in
as it stands at the moment, I don't think that the K2 should stand. I don't think that any venue that is just using a 1 foot barrier to stop COVID is acceptable.
Right. Although technically that's the guidelines
you're using a technicality by TTE, but I don't agree with that. That you're asking me my opinion.
Yeah,
I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I think that's wrong. You see, we all play table tennis.
Yeah.
So when I'm in a table tennis venue, I know that I'm going to play table tennis tomorrow night.
Yeah.
All right, in a venue. All right. Now I might be in a table of 6, which is acceptable.
Yeah.
But because I know everybody that's there, I will talk to them people.
That's true.
All right. So that's now not a table of 6.
So
if I go into my venue tomorrow and I'm meant to be in a bubble of 6, the moment I talk to somebody else, that's abusing the rules.
Yeah, I guess.
And I will, because if you're there tomorrow.
Oh, say that again. Say that again.
I said you're there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're tomorrow yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will talk to you. I will say hello to you.
Yeah.
But I've got my own bubble of 6. Now that's wrong.
Yeah, but
I guess if you're not getting too close, it's okay, isn't it? As long as you're not.
But we all play a sport and we will be close.
Yeah, but you are going to be wearing a mask and you are going to be keeping your distance from, people outside of your bubble. Well, from anyone really. I mean, you've got to try and maintain that 2 meter distance.
Yeah, I know you've got to try and do that, but in general, I think it's very difficult to do that in a sport where we're all friendly.
It's difficult to enforce, yeah.
If you go out for a meal, you go out for a meal in a restaurant, and I sit at a table of 6 and there's a table of 6 next door, I don't know them, so I won't associate with them.
Yeah.
But when I'm in a table tennis venue and there's a table of 6 next door, I do know them and I would talk to them.
Yeah.
It's something that we would naturally do.
Yeah, it is, yeah. But at the same time, you will be wearing your mask, and you will be mindful not to be.
No. I know that, Brett, but I'm just saying I'm going to play in it because I actually feel that I can play. But I think that we're abusing the rules.
Well, we're not abusing them. We're just following the guidelines.
You're not abusing them, but you're pushing them to the limits.
Yes, because there is really no way. I mean, from a league perspective, for example, like tomorrow, there's no way I can tell Dave, no, Dave, you cannot speak to anyone else. You must stay, put. I cannot enforce that.
No.
So technically,
I wasn't actually referring to you and your league, Brett. I was just.
No, but yeah. I mean,
I never mentioned that I'd see you, but I'm just saying that is the problem when a group of people that are friendly, you can't maintain that. Any tournament that happens, like you're running tournaments, Rory.
Yeah.
one or two. It's very difficult to tell people on a table of six not to talk to the people on a table of six next door.
Yeah, but I guess the cases are quite low, and the chances of transmission, if people are keeping their distance and sanitizing and doing all the table disinfecting, the chances are still fairly low, or at least the government.
They are fairly low. I'm not saying that they're not fairly low. What I'm saying is, I think we're pushing the boundaries to a point that we shouldn't be.
Okay, well, that's obviously everybody's entitled to their own opinion, obviously.
Yeah. Because
yeah. And that, you asked me. That's why I'm on here. So
but because
you know, I agree on playing, and I'm going to be playing. But then I've got quite a, I go to work every single day of the week. I'm in contact with other people.
Yeah,
that's right.
You know.
Well, it's the same as like up north, isn't it? At the moment, where they've now had to cancel all their table tennis. Apart from the schools that are operating, apart from that, but they're in total lockdown now, haven't they? And they've stopped all activity. And then the same thing can happen.
I think it's very easy to be blasé all the time that nothing happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if it happens, then I think there'd be a totally different perspective to it.
I think every player has just got to take their own, make their own decisions and decide for themselves if they're happy with the situation, and if they're not, they just don't play. That's the way I look at it.
Yes, I don't agree with that, Rory. We should be making a decision that everybody is comfortable with. Just because somebody doesn't agree with it and you say, well, they shouldn't play, that's wrong.
I think mostly everybody is agreeing with it. I don't know anybody that's not playing because of it.
No, I'm not saying they are, but I'm saying that you should make a decision based on what everybody is comfortable with.
But I think that's what they've done. They've made it. They've come to the decision. They're following the guidelines. People are happy. If they're not happy, they'll tell us. But I don't think anybody's said anything. So
the guidelines are there, and obviously you could just got to abide by them. I'm not saying you shouldn't abide by the guidelines. I'm just saying 3-foot barrier doesn't stop COVID.
No.
But people just do the best they can. You have to get on with life at the end of the day, in my opinion.
This is it, yeah.
You can't be locked down permanently. It's, it has its other disadvantages, health disadvantages. People go insane almost, and it's not good for people's health. People get overweight and they're not going out. They don't get the personal interaction. I think it's a good compromise. I'm all for it personally. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next topic, which is longevity of players in the sport and what's keeping us playing. Again, I'll answer it first because I'm the only one here that has never stopped playing from the day I started.
Have you not?
I started when I was 15, just turning 15, and that was 29 years ago. I'm nearly 44, so yeah, and I just love the sport. I've never obviously people have bad days and you're not playing well.
Yeah.
You think, oh, why do I play this? But I've never seriously contemplated not playing or stopping.
But what about like in your younger days, and then you find women and life just gets in the way? I mean, has it never slowed you down? Like you've always maintained, no, I'm going to go out
those
tonight
kind of issues, Brett. So no. Always played table tennis regularly. So I started in school, played a few years, did in my hometown, in a local league, and just in school, played like 5 hours a day in school, literally before school, lunchtime, after school, or was it 3 hours a day? 3 hours a day, but I also played at home.
This was over in Ireland, wasn't it?
Yeah, Wexford, County Wexford, down in the southeast of Ireland. Then I went to university. And I played twice or 3 times a week at university in my first year. In my second year, I joined a local club and joined the league and started going to the occasional tournament. There weren't that many tournaments in Ireland. I didn't do any tournaments before. Well, I did a few tournaments in Wexford, actually, just local ones. I didn't start going to the national ones until I moved to Dublin. Then after 5 years in Dublin studying, I came to England, to Brighton, to study. Again, before I'd even got to England, I had already arranged to start up a new table tennis club at the University of Brighton, which hadn't got any table tennis club. They had 2 battered old tables. I managed to get the university to buy 4 brand new quality tables and set up 3 practice sessions a week. We ended up having 5 local league teams, 2 or 3 teams in the university league. And then I started a junior coaching session. This is all at Brighton University. Anyway, I left the university and I started another club. And eventually I moved to Horsham because I got offered a table tennis coaching job. So I've been there. I was doing Horsham Table Tennis Club from 2005 to 2011. And then 2011, I started Horsham Spinners. And yeah, I've always played, and I've been coaching like 20 years, 15 as a job, 5 years before that, just kind of voluntarily or part-time towards the end of those 5 years. But yeah, I just love playing. I love competing. I more so prefer competing than practicing, although I have done some training camps abroad, which I've enjoyed over the last 5 years. And yeah, I just love the sport. That's why I keep playing. So I'll move that. I'll ask that question to Dave first.
I lost what the question is now.
Longevity in our sport.
Longevity in the sport. What keeps you playing?
For me, it's definitely the social side of it.
Yeah.
You know, now I did stop playing for about 8 years, and you know, when you get married and you have kids, and I know you haven't done that, Rory, but when you get married and you have kids, you don't have the same time and commitment that you can throw at a sport. And I had a lot of other things going on at the time, so I did stop for a little while, probably about 8 years. But I mean, you know, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I loved this sport, because I've always loved playing table tennis. Yeah. All right, and I do enjoy playing. I want to play, but for me, there has to be more to it than just table tennis. If I just played table tennis and went home at the end of the evening, it's the easiest sport to pack up playing in the world, because there is no interest to keep you there. I'm also a team player. I like to play for a team. I'm not interested in playing for myself. You know, so if I am playing for myself, it doesn't worry me whether I win or lose. If I'm trying to play for a team, then I would try and win for that team. So there's a difference in the way that you look at it. I mean, you're a very solitary player, and you like, you know, Rory likes to play for himself. You like to play to win for yourself. Nothing wrong with that, but that's not the way I am. I like to play for a team. You know, and I set my team out, or my teams, whatever you want to say, to win as a team. I don't set the players out to win individually.
But also with the team, you get your legendary bar crawls at the Veterans British League.
Yeah, but it's I mean that's the social side of it.
Yeah.
But we still set out to actually win. We don't set out to lose. We want to win.
Well, yeah, that's the competitiveness. But you're doing it as a team, you know, all together, you know, as a unit, and being social.
Yeah, we are a very sociable group of players. I suppose, having played football in my life, that sort of rubs off in the sport that we play now. Yeah. You know, because football is a lot more sociable than table tennis.
Yes.
You know, now most of table tennis I've played all my life was in some grotty little hut where you finished off at about, you know, 11:15 and tried to rush over the pub for a pint. You know, what we have tried to instill is the fact that there's more friendly side to it, and people have taken to that. That's something that people like.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean to say everybody wants to get drunk, because they don't, because some people take their table tennis very seriously. I mean, Rory, you've come out with us. You know, you never sat there and got drunk.
Nope.
No, but you still came out with us and you enjoyed what we done.
Yeah, at the Vets British League, definitely.
Yeah. Right. So it's not just about going out and, you know, drinking too much. It's just about people engaging and being interested in each other.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed the social side with the Vets British League. Absolutely. I mean, it does make it much more enjoyable. There's no question about it.
I mean, my number one is obviously playing table tennis, but yeah, definitely there's other aspects to it as well. So you would say personally for you, what's keeping you in the game is friends that play and the social aspect as well.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Because it is a sport that is very easy to stop playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is why so many people give it up.
Well, it's surely easier to stop playing something like football, which is more difficult as you get over the injuries
you
and
stop
that.
playing football because your body tells you can't play it.
Yes,
that's not
what I mean.
Not because your heart is not there. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so Joanne, what keeps you in the sport? What do you think about longevity in the sport?
Well, I just enjoy playing and just seeing if I can improve. I think in my head, I can play better than I actually can, if you know what I mean. And so I think, oh, can I achieve what I achieve in my head in actual fact, you know? And so I just work hard and try and get a bit better. And then I do, and I think, oh, that's good. But yeah, I always, whenever I've seen like a table tennis table or people playing table tennis, I just want to be part of it.
So what about like in New York City, you know, where Wally Green's from, and he's established, they've got so many table tennis tables indoors, outdoors, across all the parks. You know, and in their Central Park in New York City, you've got all those tables, haven't you? Like, I think there's 4 or 5 tables there. And, you know, like you were out there once, you got invited out there to play in the World Championships, didn't you? And
Yeah, I was on holiday in New York, and it was Bryant Park.
That's the one,
which Bryant Park is kind of midtown, and it's just behind the New York City Library, which is on Ghostbusters. And yeah, so they have like a couple of, it's 2 table tennis tables there, and it's free. You just go up and they have somebody like a host who will let you have, it's only 15 minutes on the table, and if you haven't got anyone to play with, they'll say, oh, they'll pair you up with someone, and they'll give you a bat, or as they call it, a paddle, and then you play with whoever who's come up from Chinatown probably that day, and so you can have 15 minutes on the table with them. Now that was fine, and I'm quite good when I'm about to go on holiday, is I research what I'm going to do. And so I also research kind of free things. So if I'm going to New York, which is quite expensive, I'll research free things to do. And one of the things that came up was table tennis in Bryant Park. And so I went on their website, and I noticed that while I was there, they had on the Saturday, which is my last day, they had a women's tournament.
Okay.
So I entered the women's tournament. Thought, okay, I'll enter this, but I'll go up on like the Wednesday morning and have a little game. It was in September, so it was like September last year. So I'll have a little knock and see what the table's like, see what the conditions are like, because I'd never played outdoors before, and I'd never experienced an outdoor metal net. Which was, yeah, exactly. No nets and edges there. Well, no nets anyway, it just comes straight back at you. If you hit the net, you just get it back in your face. It's just horrific. So you just have to start hitting the ball and going, I am going to clear that net properly. So I went on the Wednesday and had a little knock and thought, and the ground was, it was okay, but you know, then you have to watch for falling leaves because it's September. So the leaves are falling every so often when you get a gust of wind. And so you have to make sure that if there's a leaf there, you just clear that away. But what was really nice about it, though, is that I think Bryant Park at one time was where like all the druggies used to hang out. And so I think that New York Council, whatever you want to call them, they've probably got an American name for it, but they must have injected quite a bit of money into regenerating Bryant Park, because they had these tables put there. They also had kind of what they called an area, they called it the reading rooms. They had like deck chairs and stuff where you could go along and get a newspaper or a magazine or a book for free and just sit there and read them. and then they had various eating places. They had like a little piano where you could listen to people play lunchtime concerts, and we did that as well. But yeah, so on the Saturday I went along to the tournament, and the I was going to say before that, so you can cut that bit out, Brett, edit that bit. That as well as that, a lot when you get to 7 o'clock in the evening, all the homeless people arrive and they play table tennis there, and they've got like their own community at Bryant Park, and that has turned quite a few people's lives around. So they'll go there and play table tennis, and other people come along and join them from the community, and it is a really nice atmosphere. And they knew that the competition was on, so quite a few of them came along as well, and they'll sort of stand around and just local people. I played a sort of South American woman, then I played a Chinese woman. She lived in Brooklyn, and she brought her mum.
Was there any pros that were there, watching? Because
What was
Wally
that?
Green, was there any pros that that just come along, because like Wally Green's table tennis club is only round the corner from where those tables are.
I don't know. There seemed to be people who knew each other. They were all. I think I was the only tourist who had entered, and all the others were locals. There was a woman who worked around the corner. There were several young women there who had entered the tournament before, and there was a Chinese woman who brought her mother up from Chinatown, and they were sat there really friendly. And the time that what was funny was though that it started really late, much later than it should have, and it was really relaxed. And it was supposed to start at 2 o'clock, and it started like 3:30. And so we did 1, 2, 3, 4, and it was like a knockout, and we did all these rounds. And then I kept looking at my watch thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to go. I need a meal. I need to pick up my case that I've left in my Airbnb. I need to get on the subway and get to JFK in 2 hours booking in. And I'm going, oh, if I get through this round, I'm in the semi-final. Am I going to be able to play the semi? Oh, I'll play the semi-final. That's fine. I'll do it.
Yeah.
And then I started to sweat a bit, and I said to this guy, Tony, I said, look, if I get into the semi-final, that's it. I'm going to have to go. And they were all going, no, stay. It doesn't matter about your plane. And I said, oh no, it does matter about my plane. Believe me, this is like a free tournament. It matters about a plane fare. But anyway, yeah. So I managed to get into the semi-finals, and then I was like, sorry, I really can't concentrate now. And I got to 6-all in the first set, and then I just thought, no, sorry, So anyway, yeah. I can say I got to the semi-finals in the New York Open competition.
Yeah.
New York Open Air competition.
Yeah, you even
was,
hit the national news over here in the UK about it.
No, I just stuck it on Facebook, Brett, and people thought, oh, what's this? She's played in New York. But no, it was good fun, and it was a community thing. It really was.
Yeah.
I was the only tourist there, and they were so friendly to me, and they really treated me really nicely, and it was lovely community. And I actually swapped emails with one woman, and we've kept sort of reasonably in touch since.
So it brings back to Dave's point then, doesn't it? Because he plays for the social side of table tennis, the sport.
Yeah, that's it.
One thing that keeps everybody interested in what we do is that we all have the same interest.
Yeah.
We all play table tennis. That's why we have an interest in each other, because we all play table tennis.
Okay, yes. So I'm going to just ask the same question to Brett, and I've realized that I didn't actually ask Brett the first question. So if you want to answer both questions, Brett, impact of COVID on your clubs, on yourself, and also your reason that you're back playing, and longevity and that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the impact of COVID, on myself has been like, looking at a league perspective and trying to get some tournaments off the ground and tournament play. Well, one, it's made us look at like, you know, hygiene procedures. You know, like general, like just washing your hands more often. You know, just cleaning down the tables. You know, things like this. I even think like, you know, hopefully, you know, in years to come, when this COVID is, you know, long time ago, that we're still going to have these procedures in place. You know, some of them, because it's just general cleanliness, isn't it? You know, and it makes sense. But you know, with the restrictions though, it has like it's made us look like we can't be so, you know, welcoming. Well, we can, but at the same time, we've got to like, you know, you've got to like look after your own, you know, your existing people that are already there, you know, part of that community. You've got to make sure that, you know, you're looking after them more than you are, you know, prioritizing to like new people in that. But
am I right in saying that you were pulling your hair out over lockdown because you couldn't play table tennis, you couldn't do your referee?
Yeah, I mean, at the start, I mean, well, even now, I'm still waiting to be assessed on a few things. You know, in terms of, you know, my table tennis career, so to speak. It's just a waiting game at the moment, and
what's difficult, Brett, is the fact that if you want to promote the sport and you want to make it happen, you need to promote new players coming in, and they're the players that we can't get into the sport at the moment because, as you said, you're looking at the players that are there. So you can't actually just get new players to come into your club.
I've had a few new ones because some that have not,
because you're looking at the players that you've got. So we're not. It's very difficult to promote the sport at the moment when you can't entice just, you know, the guy down the road that says, "Can I come and play a game of table tennis?" He can't do it at the moment.
No, he can't just think, oh, you know, he's passing by, he hears some balls being hit or whatever. You know, he can't just walk in and just play. Whereas before, we would be like, oh, yeah, just come on in, you know, whatever they're wearing, and say, you know, oh, here's a bat, you know, give them a bat and say, right, you know, here we go, here's some pickle, and just give them a little, like, you know, 5-10 minutes.
All the clubs that are running at the moment are just running with players that they've got. Nobody can actually try and entice any new players into the clubs.
Yeah, they're just treading water, really, aren't they?
I've had a few new ones, but by and large, it's the same people. Yeah.
I mean, we have to look after our existing players, you know, to make sure that they are, because, you know, that they're allowed to have their exercise and, you know, their breathing space, so to speak, you know, go out for a night of table tennis. You know, so we have to make sure that we give them that opportunity.
So, Brett, do you want to answer the second question then?
Well, I mean, so table tennis kind of like, you know, runs in my family. I was just like born into it, really, because like my father's side of the family, they all played table tennis. So, you know, when I was born, I just came into it, you know, my brothers, because we always had a table tennis hut, you know, on our properties. You know, it was there constantly, like all the time. And then, you know, every weekend, either my brother was off, you know, on some European tournament, or my dad was playing, and they would always be like, yeah, Brett, come on, you know, we're off to, you know, Halifax for the Northern Masters, or well, wherever it is we were going. You know, it was happening all the time, constantly. So I mean, I played up until I was about 14, 15, and then real life just happened, I suppose. I mean, it was real life anyway, but you know, and then
not real life, 14 or 15. You got to grow up a little bit more than that.
Yeah, but you know, I was a young teenage kid, hormones running around the place, you know, and you know, I was always brought up to try and be an independent person, you know, as much as, you know, like, here's the world is yours, you know, go off and enjoy it. You know, so I just spread my wings and went away, you know, and then, but on my travels and that, during that time, I just stopped playing table tennis. It just never crossed my mind, you know, to find the local clubs wherever I was, you know, to go and sing, oh yeah, let's go over here, or travel into Europe to go and say, oh, there's some amazing clubs here, you know, or go and watch like the Bundesliga, or it just never came to me. So I didn't play for like 20 odd years. It's good 20 plus years. And then
you met Brian Tate in the Triangle.
Yeah.
And all history.
So about a year ago, just over a year ago now, in this area in Sussex, I was taking my young daughter, to swimming in the local leisure centre. And I was just like, just being in the leisure centre and, just having that sport feeling, in you, that having that little bit of energy to go and play a sport. So I asked at the front desk, the leisure centre, I said, "Oh, can I play table tennis here?" And they said, "Like, yeah, you can book a court, and just play." And then I thought, well, is there any like local leagues, or is there local clubs? Is there like a local tournament I can go to? Things like this. And they were like, no, you can book a table here. And I'm like, well, there's got to be something in this area, in the middle of Sussex. And then it just happened to be that there was an old guy trotting along with his cleaning trolley, because he was a cleaner at the Triangle at the time. And he just heard the words table tennis being spoken, and his ears picked up from, 10 miles away, being on the other side of the leisure centre, and he just come waddling up to me. And he was like, "I heard you were talking about table tennis." And I'm like, well, yeah. I said, I used to play. I'd like to, give it a go again. I'm like, like it. And he said, well, in actual fact, he says, we've got a really, really big, like, vibrant community. We've got a table tennis league, like, right here. And I was like, really? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, whereabouts this is? And he said, well, it's in the next town over, in a town called Hayward Heath. And I was like, okay, yeah, where's the club? And he said, well, it's an actual league, but we have practice sessions. That he says, tell you what, he says, come out at 7:30. And I said, when? And he said, well, now in a few hours. We've got a league match on. It's Wednesday night. And I was like, okay then. So after swimming, I went home, and then a few hours later, went straight back out, walked into the hall, seen all the they got 12 tables up in Warden Park, and everyone was there in a league night. And I thought, well, this is amazing, in the middle of absolute nowhere, to find, a really healthy, big community going. And then ever since then, I've never really looked back. And, since then, I've gone on to get my coaching license now. So I'm a fully qualified coach. I've gone on to get my umpiring assessment all done. I've gone on to get myself involved.
I had the level 2 umpire test a couple of weeks ago, and the pass mark was 80 out of 100, and I got 96 out of 100. So
that's good, yeah. Yeah, and then I've got involved at county level as well now. Being in the county, and then looking at the history of the county as well, which is it's always been a premium county in this area for table tennis. It's incredible, really. So I'm involved there at that level now. I'm also involved in running a league for the first time ever. So instead of just playing in a team, I'm looking at a league level now. So I'm meeting like so many new people now. It's incredible. And the friendships that I'm forming, are going to be lifelong. I'm always going to have these friendships, which is amazing. And this is what I absolutely love. And at the moment, being involved at, a club level, a local league level and county level, and even branching out into the tournament scene, I'm absolutely, buzzing. I cannot now look back and not have table tennis in my life now. It's
Does your kids play table tennis in, Brett?
It's the what?
Do your children play table tennis?
Well, my youngest daughter, she's 6, and she did go to her very first table tennis training camp this summer, and she enjoyed it very, very much. So she's really keen. So yeah, and I don't really see my older children at the moment, as regularly as much as I like to, but my little one, my youngest one, Bonnie, she's getting into it. I've said to her, show me forehand drive, and she'll sit there in the ready position, and she'll go forehand. And when I have table tennis on,
problem is trying to get youngsters to play and keeping them playing all the time, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, that brings us on to the next question, which is about why is there such a big dropout in the sport of table tennis? How can we decrease this? And also, how can we re-engage people who've quit playing, get them back playing again? So this time I'll go to Brett first.
I mean, there could be any number of reasons as to why, we've got a huge, dropout of people without, because like, I mean, most people that I've met, I mean, like thinking about it now over the years, when I was not playing, whenever I mention table tennis, everyone I used to speak to go, I used to play table tennis, and they were like, every single person I've met, oh yeah, I used to play table tennis at school, or when I was on holiday with my parents, when I was young, there used to be a table there at, the local hotel, wherever they were, and everyone has said, yeah, I've played a little bit of ping pong at some point. And then, nowadays, though, I ask them, I said, if you played table tennis before, whenever I meet someone new, and they were like, yeah. And I say, well, why are you not playing now? Well, why aren't you playing? It's like the other day, I hurt my thumb, as you can see.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
it's on one of my videos, actually. Where you get that half-long serve to you.
Yeah, I know that one.
And you're not sure about it, but I went for it anyway, and then I caught my thumb on the edge of the table. Everyone's done it at some point in their lives, I'm sure they have. And yeah, it hurts.
There's a guy called Chris Angus. He's been coming down to Horsham Table Tennis Club to practice. And in the last 5 or 6 weeks, he has caught the back of his hand doing a backhand on the corner of the table 5 times in 6 weeks. And he's drawn blood at least 4 of those times. And he's had scabs. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, it happens. Even though they say table tennis, it's not really a dangerous sport, and it's like, well, actually, it's really. But anyway, so while I was in the hospital, just make sure I didn't need any stitches or things like this. I asked the nurse, who was patching me up. I said to him, I said, well, I said, because he noticed, like, oh, you've got a table tennis shirt on. I was like, yeah. I said, I've literally just come from a table tennis practice session, like just now. And he goes, oh, I used to play table tennis. And I said, well, did you feel you were any good? He said, yeah. He says, I was one of the best in my school back then. And I said, well, why aren't you playing now? And he says, oh, I just haven't got the time. And I was like, well, I'm pretty sure, when you're not working, okay, you're really busy at the moment, but I'm sure you can spare 30 minutes one evening, and I gave him all the details of our club and that at Hayward Heath, so hopefully he might just walk in the door or get in contact with us, hopefully. But I just cannot see why, how to stop this from happening, how to or re-engage people, how's the best way to encourage him, really.
Well, should we get some tips from the expert on re-engaging people? Dave, do you want to tell us how you managed to get so many people who previously played back playing again?
A lot of that is by phoning people, talking to people, just getting them to be interested in what you do. I mean, the people that I've got back playing have all played proper table tennis.
Yeah.
And so they have got an interest in what they've done. But they've fallen out of love because commitments elsewhere, or they didn't get enough out of the sport. So obviously giving them something that they can come back and play with has made a difference. The biggest thing is like with youngsters. Now, as you know, I've got hundreds of kids, and not one of them wants to play table tennis. They all, don't get me wrong, they all play table tennis with their mates, beer a pong or whatever it is. They go down, they go into any clubs, and they pick up that and they'd have a little bit of a bash.
Yeah.
But trying to get somebody of 16 to play a serious sport in a dull, dismal situation where people are going to moan at them if they talk, they've got no interest in that.
And how about the K2 situation where we have 11 tables, 14
Yeah, but
teams?
that's a different situation. You can't talk about the K2 as in keeping people wanting to play, because the K2 is about the elite table tennis players that have continually playing.
A lot of
Right,
the players who got back playing are playing at that level.
No, but they're players that have always played. They are top players that have come back, and I can try and entice players to come back. But what you need to do is to get youngsters to go through puberty and then want to actually play.
Yeah.
And we do not have the facilities as a sport to make them want to play.
Yeah. Well, whereas like in China, for example, you know, the reason why they've got such a vast array of players is because they've intertwined, you know, the sport of table tennis right into their education almost. You know, like in every school when they do their morning exercise, like we do over here, you know, they're actually there, you know, doing like table tennis movements.
If you talk to any even the greatest players that we've got, Josh Bennett, etc., people like that. I don't know whether he's got a girlfriend at the moment or not a girlfriend, but you say to them, bring your girlfriend to watch me play table tennis, and the girlfriends would be horrified and say, no, I'm not going to come and watch you.
Eric Van Mol brought his girlfriend to every league match last season.
Yeah, I bet she hated it.
Yeah, but is she playing now?
They've actually just broken up recently, but
yeah.
But in the meantime,
what I'm saying is,
she's not playing now.
What I'm saying is, unless you can get these youngsters to, let's say for the guys, because obviously there's more boys that play than girls in general in sport. All right, so you try to get the boys to encourage them to bring their girlfriends along to watch a sport. Now you've got to give the girlfriend something to be enjoyable about.
Yeah.
Which in this sport, a girlfriend is going to sit silent in a hall, not allowed to talk, and she's not going to enjoy herself.
That's very true, yeah. But whereas like
so therefore she will say to her boyfriend, I'm not watching this again.
Yeah, well this is why I agree with what we do, you know, once a year, the World Ping Pong Championships. All right, it's a different game to table tennis, but the atmosphere is there. You know, what they're building is all the tables inside a hall, everyone coming in, and the atmosphere, and they're cheering for every point. There's no silence.
But I think when you're in a multi-table venue, there's less of a requirement to be silent. I mean, in a one-table venue, tends to be people tend to want silence, don't they? But I think if you're in Hayward's Heath, for example, where we have 12 tables, or in the K2 where we have 11 tables, even Farlington we have 4 to 6 tables. I don't think in those situations you have to be silent all the time.
Well,
I encourage people to not
it's even
be
one table. I mean, you look at the Pro Tour, right? When they get to the finals, they have just one table in the middle of that massive hall. Yeah. People are cheering. There's no quietness. They're all roaring away and cheering away. And you know,
one of the things I didn't like at all about playing in these one-table venues, especially with these older guys who like, you know, you open your crisp package. Shh.
I disagree with that. You know, and anyone that, like, when I'm playing table tennis, because I'm a loud person anyway, you know, all this old guard, I call them the old guard. You know that you know, sit there silence and no, we'll wait for our tea break. It's like, no, I'm cheering now. You know, I'm going to scream and shout. Like,
well,
if
we had that
past you, I'm going to go ace way.
Yeah, I don't like
it. When we played in the South West Sussex League with me and my sons.
Yeah.
We wasn't playing, and to be honest, all the teams actually welcomed us because we had quite a laugh when we was playing.
Yeah,
but when matches was tight, the opposition would still get, you know, oh, be quiet, you got to do this properly, you know, and we was just there for fun. You know, and it's that fun that you need to keep to get people interested and to playing the sport.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, Dave. 100%.
I think you're right. We need to go away from this attitude of silence. People should be allowed to talk a little bit, as long as they're not, you know, imposing themselves on the match. I think definitely that. Yeah, I think I agree with that.
I mean, as long as if you're not like, you know, it's 12 all in the fifth, and you know, obviously you then scream mid rally. You know, fair enough, but. You know, as soon as that point's over or whatever, people should be cheering, screaming, or if you do an ace on someone, which is quite hard to do in table tennis, but it happens because I done one last night on video. If you want to visit my YouTube channel, people, you'll see it. You know, I aced him and I shouted at the other end of the table like, "Hey!" You know.
Okay, moving on to Joanne then. What are your views on, you know, people giving up, getting people back into playing and so on?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's not just table tennis, though, is it? It's other sport that they get that kind of fallout, that people do it till kids do it, and till about 15, 16, and then they drop out and then come back in their 40s or late 30s or something. It seems to be endemic across the whole kind of thing, and I don't know. I just like Dave was saying, and Brett, just make it a bit more fun, because sometimes if you're in a league match, you'll get some people, you know, you get that kind of tense atmosphere where you get the one player who's under pressure and hates losing, and so you think, oh, I've got to be careful now. I can't even sort of cheer for anybody or make a comment or show that I'm enjoying myself, because I'm going to be told to shut up or something, you know, by this player who doesn't like losing or something.
I must admit, I went down to Woodlands. I played a few away matches at Woodlands, your old club, Joanne. And I like a bit of banter, and we were like chatting in between games, and you know, you had these people down in Division 10 or whatever it was. I'm just joking. It's probably Division 4 or something, whatever. And they're like, "Shh, there's a game going on here," and I'm like, you know, we're having a chat. This is what it's supposed to be, a bit social. We're supposed to try and enjoy it at the end of the day. And I don't understand how us talking on our table, we weren't even that loud, how that would bother people. I mean, certainly if it was me, I wouldn't care what they were talking about over there. I would just get on with my game. And if you're playing, you focus, or whatever, you know, you just try and enjoy it. You know, at the end of the day, I've never in 29 years ever told somebody on a neighboring table to be quiet. Never. And I hate when someone does it to me.
No, I've always encouraged it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, like, I mean, like you've got, like, you know, the superstars of like the United States, right? You've got like Wally Green, you know, with his personality, he is a colourful, you know, loud person. That's who he is, you know. And if he was told to be quiet, you know, he wouldn't play the sport, and I think we need to move away from that.
Yeah, and as for me, I mean, it's the big question: why do people quit? I mean, I think it comes down to a lot of reasons. Part of what Dave has said. I think we need to be moving away from these single table venues. I know Dave's in a club that has a.
To be honest, Rory, life stops people playing nowadays.
Yeah,
you know, especially because wives now want their husbands to do more with their children, their families. You know, when I was growing up, I didn't have to do a great deal towards my family. You know, I just carried on enjoying myself and done what I wanted. I was a big kid. But nowadays, that's not the norm. You know, what a wife with a young family wants their husband, partner, whatever, to share their responsibilities.
But I would say definitely a few things that can help stop people or reduce numbers of people dropping out when it comes to leagues and stuff is to have a multi-table venue with lots of people there and a bit of socializing and lack of silence, bit of buzz in the hall. Play on 2 tables or have 3 tables for 2 matches, so you're out of the venue potentially by 9:30 or 10, but not being stuck there till 11. Watching every single game. I know it's a team event and you want to watch your teammates, but I'm not of the view that you need to watch all 9 or 10 matches. I think a bit of support while you're umpiring, and maybe
I think what's difficult with our sport is the size of the table.
Yeah.
Because if you could put a table in a pub and say to 3 guys in a pub every week, we want you to play, they would probably play every week and they'd sup a few beers at the same time. But the
100%.
table size is so vast that you can't just put that in a pub.
That's right.
No,
well,
but then not everybody would want to be in a pub either. You got kids and you got, you know.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying not everybody wants to be in a pub, but when you're talking about 18-year-olds, you would
Yeah.
find a lot of 18-year-olds would go down the pub and would quite happily play a game of table tennis while they were socialising with friends.
By that logic, and I'm not saying you're wrong, by that logic, darts should be the most popular sport because you can play darts in a pub.
Well, it is,
And
yeah,
and snooker as well, and
Yeah,
pool.
but we're all forgetting though that there's a pub in London, called Ping Palace. You know that has a nightclub feel to that pub. They've got a table in there.
Do you mean Bounce?
Yeah, Bounce, whatever it's called. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a nightclubby pub. They've got a table tennis table in there.
Yeah, but I'm not on about.
Right. It's not. You know, it's
not on about
table tennis theme, though, isn't it? That's like a pub or a club which is themed around table tennis, so you know that's going to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, the sort of thing about darts or snooker or whatever. I mean, a snooker table is almost as big as a table tennis table, but you don't need to have the room around it, do you?
No.
You know, because you're almost static once you've sort of sized up what you're going to do with your cue. You get in position and you play your point, and there is only one person playing at the snooker table at a time. The other guy's sat there waiting for him to go wrong so he can have his go. And so you don't need that kind of. It's a quick sport with the ball in the air, and you don't need the room. That's the trouble with the table tennis. You need the room around it, don't you, to be able to.
That is the problem, is the amount of room that we need to put a table tennis table and play our sport.
And actually play.
Yeah, that's true.
So it sounds like some, ideas might be just to kind of put some adverts out there to people who may have played before, call up people that that have stopped playing, keep in touch.
If you had a smaller table in the corner of a pub and pubs would play against each other, they would probably quite thrive as a little league.
Could be like a social league, so you wouldn't necessarily need full space. It's just
no, but it's still getting people to play.
Yeah.
What you've got to remember is we haven't got factories anymore that can open up their factory doors that people can play.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's try and organise a 2-player league in a pub across.
We just need a smaller table. That's it.
If you had a small
3/4 size table,
the sport could thrive.
Yeah. Or just put a bit of a board over the snooker table and use that. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, every pub in this country has got a darts team.
Yes, pretty much, yeah.
And they all play against each other. Throughout the whole country, every pub plays against another pub with a darts team.
Yeah.
Because they don't need. If we had a small table for table tennis that somebody in that pub would play, you would find that every pub would play against each other.
They would, yeah.
It's an idea. That's an idea. Let's go and do that then, shall we? Honestly,
an awful lot of these pub games, though, like they play Skittles, don't they? So you've got Skittles, darts, snooker.
Yeah.
Again, they're all the same kind of thing, where one person plays the sport, one person throws the dart, one person picks up a cue and pots the ball. Or with Skittles, one person is there, and so you can have a team event, but with one person playing the action at a time. But with the table tennis, it's 2 people that make the game. So that's why you need more room.
But it could actually be a good initiative for Table Tennis England to try and do something like what Dave's suggesting. I think it could actually work. Pub league.
When we play table tennis at Brighton City, in the pub opposite, and I forget what it's called now, they play this game where you throw a penny into a barrel. I don't know what it's called, but the pub is absolutely packed out, and I think it's teams of 3, and they throw this penny into this, barrel, and it's absolutely packed out.
Oh, you mean hooky? Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
Is that what it is? I don't know what it's called, but
yeah, that's a good game, but it's a team spirit, though, isn't it?
It might be a good game, but so is table tennis a great game.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you just need a smaller facility, and people to be, and then people would be interested.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's a lot of food for thought there. I think we better wrap the show up there. But thanks everybody for your contributions. Brett Holt, Joanne Hanson, Dave Steel. And we'll try and do these sessions monthly, hopefully. And hopefully everybody enjoyed the show. See you next time.
Okay.